5.5-year-old daughter. I just became a U.S. citizen last week. This is not the first after 15 years. So I took my 5.5-year-old daughter with me to the ceremony so she could remember that. And then on my way back home, she probably got a college lecture on privilege and like why we have short-term memory and why, you know, if she forgot and her children, you know, 2 generations removed, turn around to like shoot at brown kids because they're wearing a hoodie, like I'm getting a switch in the backyard and still coming for you. So yeah, so this is called the rear view. When my daughter asks me about my childhood, my heart becomes a crow eating glass crumbs at the scene of a car crash. The brilliance of the memories and their jagged edges compete for the preeminence in the story, and I don't know how to answer. Sometimes it was a bedroom full of ropes and rusty bicycle chains used for everything but to escape. Sometimes it was a cold blue tile bathroom, an electric cord running across from wall to wall as a winter's clothesline, rags dripping water over my head as punishment. Then there was a smell of burned out fuse in my mother's dresses, abandoned in a hallway full of tornado departures and quicksand returns. And the man, so full of love he couldn't help but be mean. The bedroom was small enough to die in it, and my favorite game was to travel from couch to chair and couch without ever touching the floor. My first savior was a transistor radio, and my original sin was to steal a book. I am unfair to my story, I am sure. Now that I'm traveled from world to world and back without ever having to touch my soil again, I judge it with the knowledge of things I was never supposed to see or have them be mine. Bright feathered opportunities and plush soft support systems wrapped up in pink bow sentences that begin with words like, I feel. Their brilliance overshadows the primal love of steep cliff arms whose devotion taught me how to embrace the fall and always land on my feet. My unemployed father didn't smoke for 3 months to buy me my first bicycle, a rattling old thing with just as much power as a rodeo of tired horses. My mother, the librarian, gave me the key to the jailhouse of forbidden books. My grandmother taught me to tame the mammoth of the mechanical sewing machine, to drive that wheel of patience, never cut any corners until I arrived at something beautiful. My grandfather, the beekeeper, taught me how to walk through a warm... okay, I'm going to take it back. Sorry. My grandfather, the beekeeper, taught me how to walk through a swarm of enemies without ever getting bit. I come from people with jammed hearts, who did not believe in God or childhood magic, whose love was not supposed to lift its neck at the presence of a flock of praying strangers for fear of making their offspring the target of wars and dictators. Their devotion never fully unfurled until I drove away from the sign of the story, until I drove away from the scene of the story, and caught their eyes in the rearview mirror, following me with the longing of a middle-of-nowhere gas station, the comeback sign flickering in the dusk, a tireless heartbeat, a brilliant reminder. Love is an object always closer than it appears.